Yo, what's good YouTube? ZAMCRO here, aka Scoop, back with the DPL, and yeah, we've got a match here. We've got Trick of Eye taking on the high jump kecks. What a keck that is. Anyways, yeah, both these teams have rain here, and it's rain versus rain in this one. Trick of Eye has Torn T, which is a Z-Move user, and Mimikyu, which is another Z-Move user, Ferrothorn, Uxie, Ludicolo, and the Mega Swampert. Deciding to leave his Heliolisk and his Pelipper on the bench. I suppose expecting, Ben to bring his own Pelipper, which is actually not a bad strat in my opinion. Speaking of Ben, he has Pelipper, Mega Swampert, Ferrothorn, Mimikyu, Hawlucha, and Tapu Koko. Deciding to leave Kingdra and Duosion on the bench, and Koko just about blew through this Ludicolo already. That was pretty interesting here. So I'm not sure what the idea with all these protect turns are. Like what's going on here? Did you bring rain mons to counter rain and protect just to stall rain? I'm not sure what's going on. Anyways, obviously a Trick of Eye fan here, and this Koko is actually putting in the work. Here. Sorry if you guys can hear this. Motorcycles just went by on the highway. I have no control on that. Even this Ferrothorn has protect, so this is kind of annoying actually. I do think that this Koko is going to predict the Ferrothorn to not try to do anything after the taunt. And I did think the Ferrothorn would get a Spike Up or a Rock Up or something. Power Up's not going to be able to 2-hit KO, and this Koko is going to be able to roost out of a position to where he's definitely going to be above half and put this Ferrothorn really low. So Hawlucha looks like a huge threat. Huge threat. Like, Uxie is the only thing stopping that. I guess unless Mimikyu has its disguise intact, so then it could prevent something like Hawlucha from being very nasty. So very unfortunate, man. I know that probably wouldn't have knocked out unless he got a crit, but now the Koko's a very comfortable amount of health if he decides to recover up. But he does decide to switch into his Ferrothorn. I guess that was an okay play. I think Koko should have roosted up so that Tornadus is not such a big issue, because Tornadus is a huge issue. See now there's no switching to this monster. So it'll be interesting to see what Ray decides to go for here. Trick of Eye has a player called or named Ray, who is coach of the Detroit Lappers, I suppose, and I didn't mention that earlier. Ben was a teammate from earlier in the season, so I didn't really have to explain him. I just started talking about Ben. Not talking about him, but using his name. Ben's doing this, Ben brought this, etc. And forgot to mention that Ray is his opponent from Trick of Eye, and apparently the coach of the Detroit Lappers, which is a cool name, by the way. So interesting that a rain versus rain matchup 13 turns in doesn't have rain on field yet. Bit wild there. So Ben's play is easily to roost. But at the same time, Ray doesn't have any counterplay because Ferrothorn's really low and it's not doing much damage with its attacks. I guess I also forgot to mention that these DPL games are extremely long. They take their time on their turns, and rightfully so. If you guys remember my games, well, I didn't record them live because I had to 100% focus on games for my team, but I spent long amounts of time on each turn. Some players need to be wary of the timer as well. I've seen a couple players come really, really close to timing out. Like, after you build your team, you need to import your team into the Showdown Builder, and calcing doesn't really take that long. But I could understand if you do have poor internet connection and things like that, it takes time to load. So I can understand that. So if this Ferrothorn has rocks or spikes, I do suppose he will go for them now. It's his only play. Cursed Ferrothorn, he has no recovery though. He got knocked off. And he got paralyzed. And he has knockoff of his own. So this is a cursed Ferrothorn with knockoff and power whip and protect. Curse, protect, power whip, and knockoff. Can't hit Hawlucha. It can't hit Coco for super effective damage. This a non-boosted power whip. Break a Mimikyu's disguise. Well, I guess any kind of contact actually breaks its disguise. I forgot about that. I was thinking substitute. Really super twisted this morning. Wild night last night, for sure. Up early, was on my way home, saw this game was about to start, and I couldn't not catch it live. I'm here, might as well catch it live. And Pelipper comes in and gets its item knocked off, so that's really nice for Ferrothorn, getting that damp rock removed in terms of keeping rain limited. .100% accurate Hurricane in rain. Easy play there. And now Ray brings out his Tornadus Therian. Probably going to click Hurricane of his own. Just going to check. Yeah, Coco's at 55%, so it can't necessarily switch in. And if it switches in on Hurricane, there's the potential of being not paralyzed, but confused, which would be very problematic for Ben if he hit himself in confusion, trying to roost up or something like that. I do think that Hurricane is the play, despite Coco being there, because there's no other play, unless you want to double. So, expecting the Coco coming out, you could go into your Swampert right now. Ray could go into a Swampert, and then if he's got coverage for the Ferrothorn, he'll be able to break that thing down. What is Ferrothorn's percentage at this point? I can barely not see it. 77, I think. Like at the very tip top above the ability in Iron Barbs, it looks like 77.76 or something. Or 70. I'm not real sure. Ben is in a really advantageous position at this point. He's got pretty much all of his Pokemon at full health, with Pelipper and Ferrothorn being at 75-ish, and Coco being at 55 and able to roost very, very comfortably. Ray is already one Pokemon down, with rocks on his side of the field and not having them on his opponent's side of the field, especially when his biggest threat at this point is his Tornadus Therian. Unless, like I said, I do expect Ben to go out into the Coco, and I do expect Ray to double out into the Swampert. Or not double. Yeah, double, because he did just bring the Torn in. Force the Coco in off of this play, and then go straight into your Swampert. And then you start firing off Earthquakes, things like that. Super excited to see what happens here. Also, if Ludicolo, no, Ludicolo's shown protect. I doubt it has coverage for Ferrothorn. I don't like the Ludicolo set with protect and things like that. So Ben actually made the play into his Swampert. What was he expecting though? I'm not sure what he was expecting. I don't think Ludicolo can even switch into this. Uxie can and get rocks up. That's probably the play, is to go Uxie and get rocks up. Well, honestly, yeah. You can use Uxie to get rocks up, and then use Mimikyu as your Hawlucha saving grace. I believe that's what he's going to do too. The Swampert goes hard for the waterfall. This Uxie's not going to be able to be 2-hit KO'd from this range. And looks to be some kind of, maybe a berry. Oh, it was a roll. Unfortunate. I thought for sure that the Uxie was just invested enough to avoid being knocked out or anything like that. So this is looking like a wheelchair, honestly. Unfortunate. And when I say unfortunately, I am referring to the fact that despite having no hard feelings or grudges against the players personally, such as Ben or any of the other players from HJK, I do, as a team, want to see them lose. So I have to root for their individual losses for them to lose as a team. But again, nothing against these guys individually. I still think Ben's a great guy, things like that. I play with him in other leagues, or have before anyway. Same thing for people like Carson and Elliott, off the top of my head, and John W. Nothing against those guys personally, but as a squad, I do want to see them lose. Rightfully so. So I believe Ferrothorn is the play. I don't think there's another play. I suppose you could go into Mimikyu. So that you can save your Ferrothorn for your opponent's Mimikyu, because Mimikyu is looking like a threat. Ray's Mimikyu is looking like a threat, and Ben's Mimikyu is looking like a threat. But like I said, I think going into Ferrothorn is Ben's play here. Unless he wants to go into the Pelipper, which could also be an okay play. But then, how much damage are you doing back? And do you want to lose Pelipper now, since your own Mega Swamper's gone? You just don't care about rain anymore. I can understand that as well. And also, allowing Pelipper to go down keeps rain off the field for this Mega Swampert that's on the other side, which allows the majority of Ben's squad to outpace the Swampert, actually all of it outside of the Ferrothorn, and prevents 100% accurate hurricanes from the opposing, from Ray's Tornadus Therian. So I could understand if he wanted to go Pelipper here, let the rain turns wear out. I don't think Mega Swampert can one-shot Pelipper in rain. I think Pelipper's got decent bulk. Mega Swampert could have Hidden Power Electric. I don't know if that's a thing. But yeah, there comes the Ferrothorn. And pretty much what I expected. Because Ferrothorn doesn't serve much purpose at this point, except for effectively being able to take on the Ferrothorn. I mean, the Mimikyu. Ray's Mimikyu. See, these teams are so fucking identical that it's insane. I disagree here. I think the play was to stay in with the Mega Swampert and get damage off. Ludicolo also, I guess, didn't really matter. But now you're one sack down. And just to bring in your Tornadus Therian, which is not going to be able to one-shot Ferrothorn. I don't think even a Z move one-shots. Yeah, and Pelipper's still been in the back. Pelipper was in the back still as a sack. So yeah, I definitely think, despite Ferrothorn going for the Power Whip, I think it was Ray's play to stay in with the Swampert to knock out, or to put Ferrothorn in range of Mimikyu, so that Mimikyu can win in the late game. And Rocks Up for Ray would have been fantastic this game, but so far, not been able to get him up, and not looking like he's going to be able to now at all. Currently, the series, I believe, High Jump Kicks are down 0-2 versus Trick of Eye. So if Ben wins, he will put them on, put a strike there in the win column. However, if they lose, if Ben loses this match, the High Jump Kicks have to win 4 in a row. So I believe the play here is to get damage on the Mimikyu. Yeah, the play was to get damage on the Mimikyu to break its disguise so that your own Mimikyu could take one hit thanks to its disguise and one-shot this thing back. Now Mimikyu probably drops the Swampert with a Z move. I think Ben was in a really good position early. Oh, he got a crit. Thankfully, it's not going to matter. Swampert survives the +2 crit and is able to destroy this thing's disguise. Wow, shout out to Mega Swampert. Just showing its bulk, man. This thing does not skip any days. Legs are small, but hey, they're supposed to be small. Doesn't mean they're not strong. So I think the next play is very simple. I don't know what they're waiting on to click here. Swampert just clicks an attack. Mimikyu clicks an attack, and then go from there. Ray has to bring in his own Mimikyu, or he's got to risk Tornadus dropping, or first of all landing a Hurricane, or dropping to like a Shadow Sneak crit after Stealth Rocks. I believe Tornadus is actually even in range of it already. So yeah, basically at this point, I don't think I think the play was 100% to use your Swampert earlier to break down that Ferrothorn, put it in range of this Mimikyu. 100% the play. And if you hadn't sacked your Ludicolo, you could have gotten chip on this Mimikyu with your Tornadus, sacked off your Ludicolo, and then, not gotten chip with Tornadus, but broke the disguise with Tornadus, sacked off the Ludicolo, then got Earthquake damage with your Swampert to put this thing in range of Shadow Sneak. So that at worst, you would only have your disguise broken if he has Shadow Sneak himself. I don't know though. It's like, once you make a play and a turn passes, the whole rest of the game is now different from that turn. And any other play could have made the game different as well, if that makes sense. So this Mimikyu definitely wanted to get the knockout here. Goes for the Mimikyu Z. I don't know what it's called actually. The Never-Ending Nightmare. No, not the Never-Ending Nightmare. Excuse me. The Let's Snuggle Forever. It's got a pretty cool animation. It's kind of. This is one of the strangest Pokemon there is. I don't think Ray can win at this point though. I don't know what his outs would be. Coco Lucha looks like it just wins. This Mimikyu really needed to be in a position to set up, and it couldn't break Ferrothorn without its Z move, and it had to waste it on the Mimikyu. So, like I was saying earlier, when Ray could have, brought in his Mimikyu not his Mimikyu, but he brought in the Uxie, and I was talking about how he would respond to Hawlucha. It looks like keeping Uxie around would have been really, really, really nice, and losing Ludicolo on those turns to Swampert would have been better. I honestly thought Uxie would eat too. Even Adamant, Max Attack, Rain boosted Waterfalls from Mega Swampert. I thought it could. Uxie's defenses have just been so insane to me in the past. I wonder if this thing is actually in Shadow Sneak range from 15%. I just don't know. That play rough damage there. Mimikyu's really weak without boosting. Goes for the Drain Punch. Wicked. Now, I don't think he gets anything back from it or anything like that. But just seeing it come in. And he goes for the Drain Punch versus a Coco right in front of him. It was just fun to see. Wonder what this Ferrothorn's coverage is. It does have Thunder Wave. Oh, and he gets crit. That's unfortunate. I don't think it makes a difference though. I think this game is pretty much decided. With Coco at full, with Coco on the field still. Agility! Agility! What? Are you kidding me? If this thing lands its heat waves and hurricanes, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This was the out? This was the out that I didn't see? Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Land heat wave here. Does Hurricane knock out Hawlucha from full? And is this thing EV'd to outspeed Hawlucha? At least Adamant. At least. Right? I don't know if Adamant Hawlucha... I think Adamant Hawlucha outpaces Jolly Mimikyu. But I don't see a reason to bring Jolly Mimikyu for either guys. So one Heat Wave lands. That's one Heat Wave landing. What range was Coco at? Coco was pretty low if I remember correctly. Let's check. 15%. Hawlucha's at 100%. If this Tornadostherian hits all of its moves, I'm pretty sure this is a wrap. Oh my fucking god. Brings in the Coco. Pretty easy play here. Sludge Wave! 100% accurate. It comes down to this fucking hurricane missing. This is giving me a heart attack. I'm sweating. My forehead's literally sweating. Yep, this game's trash. But what about Ben choking that game away? What about Ben choking that game away and Ray actually winning if he hit that hurricane? Oh my god. Fuck HJK.